So this is my stash. It takes up an entire back room at our shop. We're doing a little bit of downsizing, so this all has to get organized to go somewhere else. It's embarrassing. Nothing is organized in any way, shape, form, and stuff has just gotten put here in bins as it's gotten pulled out of my house. These are 2 quilts that are in production. I've got an entire bin full of stuff that my kids can play with. It's just such a hot mess. And so hopefully we'll have a good after for you coming very, very soon. So I'm trying to organize this massive back room at our shop that has just become a catch-all for all my stash and sewing stuff. I feel like we're in the it gets worse before it gets better stage. What I did was I just started unpacking bins and separating things into projects that need to be in project bins, fat quarters, 5-inch squares, things like that. So that way I could figure out what was what and where I needed to go from there. And once I filled my table with all my organized-ish piles, I figured it was time to start folding some stuff. So I got these new bins from Target. We'll see them in just a second, but I basically have a new way of folding my fat quarters so that they fit in here so everything stacks nicely. Then the bins are stackable to keep things clean. So it's really a great storage solution and I can't wait to utilize it. This way my stash looks pretty, but it can also be dust free and it's easy to see what I have. So I just started going through all of my fat quarter bundles. Most of these are actually from before we opened the store or right around when I started making Quilt Addicts Anonymous my business, but we weren't selling fabric yet. And here's what we got. We have a lot of Allison Glass, some QT, Cotton and Steel, Free Spirit, a bunch of gingham, and some art gallery and a whole bunch of baby panels. Here's the stackable storage I use. I just ordered 10 more that I'm picking up to handle the rest. I don't know that's gonna be enough. Later tonight, I'm bringing back a bunch of Tula that I'd forgotten I had because it was buried away in the back room. And tomorrow I've gotta handle this bin of solids. It's a lot to go through and I need to figure out how I'm gonna store yard cuts. It still looks like a big mess, but it is looking better. But at this point, this is the bin of fabric that I still have to go through and then a few fat quarters. This fabric organizing process has definitely been a labor of love. I folded so many pieces of fabric. This is all my Tula that I'm reorganizing yet again to fit in all the pieces I found in color order, but oh my gosh, the results are so fantastic. I love it. Then it was on to the solids. I have more of these than I thought. Back in the day, I wanted to do a baby quilt book using all solids, so I had a bunch from that. It just never came to fruition. Maybe someday I'll get around to it. And then it was on to my batiks. I had a lot of these because I haven't really used any since we started focusing on modern fabric for Quilt Addicts Anonymous. So here's my rainbow batik. Someday I'll get to that too. So this is what I folded so far. It's a lot. And this is what I have left. I need to do my Christmas stuff and then I'm ready to shelve it all. All right, so we have officially hit the it gets better stage of my fabric organization. This is every single fabric I have a yard or less of, all organized in these bins from Target. I don't know how many I used, but it was a lot. And I still have some more. And my husband moved these shelves into the storage area where I started migrating all this fabric to. Then I just started to fill her up. First I got all my fat quarters and then I moved over my garment fabric, yardage, and from there I was just trying to figure out what was the most aesthetically pleasing way to store everything but also be able to see everything. And I brought over my yarn because I figured why not have everything in one spot. I still have a little bit to do and there's still some stuff that's not here. There's some things scattered at the house and I've got more yarn. I need to put all my quilting yardage on comic book boards to fill in some of the empty spaces. But I've got just about everything on here now and I'd say it's not a bad job considering I've done all of this over about 4 days. I think that's pretty good from the hot mess that it was to this. I'm pretty happy with the progress that we're seeing so far. I'll do an official tour once I have everything up, but here's my stack of quilting yardage that I decided I'm gonna store on comic book boards. And here's the final look of the back room that we're moving everything out of. The floor is pretty clear. So today was the day in my fabric organization journey to deal with my bin of yardage. So I got these alligator clips online and I used them to wrap up my fabric around comic book boards. So what you want to do is take your width of fabric and get it so that it is maybe like an inch or so, half inch or so less than the length of your comic board, the long side. So I spent some time fussing with this because it was a really long piece of yardage. I don't know what I intended to do with it, but I liked it apparently a lot and got a whole bunch of it. So I was testing there to make sure I was good on the comic book board size, and then I like to fold my yardage in thirds. And once you have your width determined, then you just wrap it around like it's a bolt of fabric. And then I use the alligator clips to pin both sides. And you can see that there is quite a bit of fabric around this board. It looks like a mini bolt, and it's going to fit really well on a bookshelf. So then I went to town. This is flannel, worked really well with that. That was a huge piece of background yardage. And then I have some smaller cuts too. And I ran out of comic book boards. I went to our local Pokemon store where my daughter frequents to get some more. Turns out they have a huge surplus of these. We're going to be able to sell them to you direct. So you can get this if you are interested in doing this to your own stash. Just go to shop.quiltaddicts.com and search for comic book boards, and we're going to be able to have a bunch for you. So you're helping out two small businesses, us and Trademark. So then it was off to do the rest of my stash, and I've got flannel on here. I have yards and yards and yards of solids that I don't know what I was planning to do with, and I just had so much, and that just totally had filled that storage bin. And I even did some fat quarters on this that were some voile, and this is 108-inch wide backing piece too. So you can see everything fits on there. That one there is 3 yards and 108 that fit on there really nicely. So this is just a great way to be able to see your stash and be able to actually use it. I would do this in like a light tight area so that you don't end up with fading, but you can see it just looks so much better than that bin. So my fabric and craft organization is coming to an end here. I did one final fill up to try to get everything in one place. I'm sure I'm going to find more stuff, but here is where we are today. Everything is looking absolutely beautiful. Everything is in clear bins so I can see what I have, and it is just gorgeous. The top shelf is all garment fabric, which used to also always be in bins, and those are organized on comic book boards. Then we have one shelf of pre-cuts. I don't have too many of these. I have a tulip pink one that needs to get reorganized. Today I tackled my yardage, and so that's my quilting yardage. Here are bins that you can get at Target in the dollar section that I keep my patterns in. We have all of my yarn. Top row is random, bottom row is all my sock yarn. And then we have books, which I need to organize a little further, but they're there. They're all in one spot, so that is something. And I just love this. This is the fat quarter section. We did a whole video on how I fold and organize these, and they're stackable, and it's just gorgeous because I had them kind of organized by theme. It's gonna be a lot easier to get what I need. And then these are my project bins. These are scrapbooking bins. I always get clear ones. And it's a combination of UFOs and just things that all belong together. And I just want you to know, this is where I started 3 weeks ago. And it took a lot of time, but I am loving the way that this turned out. And if you've got a large closet, you can do it too.